that's built specifically to avoid distraction and where it works?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple companies I profile in the book Indistractable that have really built an indistractable workplace. And one of them is funny enough, a company that people complain is the source of their distraction, Slack. Slack is the world's largest group messaging service. And people constantly complain about how distracting a product like Slack can be. And so I wanted to pay Slack a visit. So I went to Slack headquarters in Silicon Valley, and I was shocked to find that they don't struggle with distraction. And it's not what you would expect, because if it's the technology that's making us distracted, well, nobody uses Slack more than Slack. They should be the most distracted company in the world, but they're not. If you use Slack on nights and weekends, you are reprimanded at the company. They tell you, don't do that. We don't do that here. It's part of the company ethos. So part of building an indistractable workplace requires these three tenets. Number one is that employees are given what's called psychological safety. They're given the ability to raise their hands and voice these concerns around distraction without the fear of getting fired for not being a team player or not working hard enough. If you can't raise your hand and say, hey, look, this constant distraction, I'm not doing my best work. If you can't say that without fear of getting fired, if you can't talk about the problem, that is the problem, right? That you can't talk about it. It's because you don't have psychological safety. So that's number one. Employees have psychological safety to talk about the problem. Number two, they have a forum to talk about the problem. So at Slack, it's incredible. They actually use Slack channels to talk about all kinds of problems with the company. They have one channel called Beef Tweets, where you post beefs about the company. And management will use, get this, emoji to show employees that their comments have been seen and acted upon. They'll use the eye emoji to show them that, yep, we saw that. They'll use a check mark emoji to show them that the problem has been resolved. So giving employees that forum to talk about these problems and know that management will hear them out. They don't necessarily have to fix every problem per se. They could disagree, but employees need to know that they have some agency in terms of influencing the company. And then the third most important trait for an indistractable company is that company leadership exemplifies what it means to be indistractable, because culture is like water. It flows downhill. So people look to their boss, to their managers, to see what they expect in terms of how much they expect them to be always on. So if your boss is in the back of the room constantly checking email, well, of course, the whole company is going to constantly check email because that's what the boss is doing. So it's fascinating. At Slack headquarters, you will see in bright pink letters in the cantina, right, in where the company gets together for lunches and functions, there's a huge sign that says, work hard and go home. Work hard and go home, because everybody at the company, from Stuart Butterfield, the CEO, down, believes that to do our best work, we need to be able to work without distraction.